Nobody is better than you. And that is not motivational fluff. That is truth. But truth is useless if you do not claim it. The greatest tragedy is not being less than someone else. It's acting like it. You were not designed to shrink, to bow, to second-guess your worth. You were born equipped, wired with genius, laced with purpose. The problem is not your potential. The problem is your belief. And belief is not a feeling. It's a decision, a discipline, a command you give to your mind every single day until your subconscious accepts it as law, until your nervous system stops flinching and starts firing with certainty, because every inch of your potential waits on the other side of that internal shift. You will never outperform the identity you refuse to upgrade. You will never attract the life you do not feel worthy of. So hear this clearly. The world is not withholding success from you. It is waiting to mirror who you believe you are. If you see weakness, you invite resistance. But if you see greatness, if you walk like it, breathe like it, move like it, the universe aligns accordingly. Because identity is the signal. Identity is the frequency. And life can only deliver what matches your signal. You do not need permission to be powerful. You do not need applause to start. You do not need credentials to rise. You just need one moment of clarity, one breath of conviction to say, I am done playing small. The mirror is not just a reflection, it is a command center. You do not look into it to observe. You look into it to instruct. You tell it who you are becoming. You speak greatness into it like a general preparing for war. Because until you see the future version of yourself with absolute clarity, you will keep repeating the patterns of the past. So today, right now, you stop waiting. You stop hesitating. You stop living like your power is pending. The clock is ticking, and the life you want is already watching, waiting, listening. Like, subscribe, turn on notifications. Not because this is a video, but because this is a moment, a ritual, a decision point. This is not just content. This is transformation. Insecurity is not part of your DNA. It is not a permanent flaw or a fixed feature of your personality. It is a program, a set of mental instructions installed by repetition, reinforced by your environment, and validated by beliefs you never chose. You were not born insecure. You were trained to be. And the training was subtle. You were rewarded for obedience, punished for boldness. You were told to be realistic when you dreamed too big. You were taught to doubt yourself in the name of humility. You were conditioned to think that confidence was arrogance and fear was wisdom. But none of that was truth. It was fear, passed down from one generation to the next, dressed up as protection. People around you projected their own limitations onto your potential. Not because they were evil, but because they never broke free from their own conditioning. They were operating from survival, not vision. And their words became your script. Their fear became your compass. Their hesitation became your inner voice. But that voice is not yours. Let's call it what it really is, a virus. Insecurity is malware for the mind. It runs quietly in the background, corrupting your clarity, draining your energy, sabotaging your momentum. It makes you question your worth even when the evidence of your value is right in front of you. And like any virus, it spreads through language, through comparison, through silence. It grows in the absence of conscious reprogramming. But here's the truth they never told you. If insecurity is learned, then confidence can be learned too. If doubt is a habit, then certainty can become one. Confidence is not for the lucky. It is not a genetic gift. It is not reserved for the extroverted or the charismatic. It is a byproduct of alignment, a consequence of internal integrity. Every time you say you will do something and do it, your nervous system gets the message, I can trust myself. Every time you follow through on a promise to yourself, even a small one, you build a brick of unshakable self-respect. And brick by brick, you construct the foundation of authentic confidence. Not the kind that flexes on others to feel superior, but the kind that stands tall without needing to shout. But the opposite is also true. Every time you betray yourself, when you break your word, when you lower your standard, when you let yourself off the hook, you are teaching your subconscious that your words mean nothing, that your vision is negotiable, that your future is optional. And this erosion of self-trust, that is the true cost of insecurity. It is not just emotional discomfort. It is spiritual misalignment. You are not broken. You are simply living out of sync with your own greatness. You are walking in shoes that are 2 sizes too small because someone once told you not to outshine. But you were not made to blend in. You were made to become a force, one thought, one action, one belief at a time. So stop outsourcing your sense of worth to applause, attention, or approval. Stop waiting for someone to give you permission to feel powerful. No one is coming to fix you, because you are not broken. What you are is unclaimed, untrained, untapped, but never incapable. And alignment, true alignment, begins the moment you tell yourself a new story. A story that doesn't begin with "I hope," but with "I am." A story that doesn't beg for success, but expects it. A story that does not echo the doubts of your past, but commands the reality of your future. Because insecurity dies in the presence of truth. And the truth is this: you are powerful. You are capable. You are becoming the person you were always meant to be. And it starts now, not with more information, but with new intention. Self-belief is not arrogance. It is not about pretending to be something you are not. It is about finally agreeing with what has always been true. It is about coming into alignment with your potential, with the highest version of yourself that has been waiting not for permission, but for recognition. When you believe in yourself, you are not elevating yourself above others. You are simply refusing to live beneath your calling. The truth is, you are capable of extraordinary things. There is genius inside you, discipline, vision, resilience. But most people never touch it, not because it is out of reach, but because they spend their lives defending their limitations. They say things like, "I'm just not that kind of person," or "That's not realistic for someone like me." And they call it honesty. But it's not honesty. It's programming. It's repetition. It's a loop running in their subconscious mind, installed by fear, reinforced by failure, and maintained by inaction. Understand this: the people you admire, the ones who inspire you, the ones building, creating, leading, they were not born with less fear than you. They are not some rare breed of human who came out of the womb with bulletproof confidence. What separates them is simple. They stopped negotiating with fear. They stopped waiting to feel ready. They stopped asking for conditions to be perfect. And they moved anyway. They acted while afraid. They launched before they were fully prepared. They spoke with a voice that still trembled. They stood on shaky legs and delivered a message before they believed they were worthy to speak. And in doing so, they created proof. Not proof for the world, proof for themselves. And that proof became belief. That belief became identity. That identity became the structure for their decisions. And those decisions, they shaped their destiny. You cannot think your way into confidence. You must prove it to yourself through action. Every time you take aligned action, even when it's uncomfortable, you're sending a message to your subconscious: I am becoming this person. And the more often you repeat that message, the more automatic it becomes. Eventually, it's no longer a choice. It's who you are. You are not your circumstances. You are not the sum of your past. You are not the opinions of others or the results of your mistakes. You are the architect of your future. And the blueprints are written in your daily decisions, in how you show up, in what you tolerate, in how you speak to yourself when no one else is listening. So act like it. Speak with the tone of someone who knows where they are going. Walk like someone who carries clarity. not confusion. Stand like someone who has already survived the doubt and come out stronger. Think like a leader. Move like a visionary. Discipline your posture, your voice, your gaze. Because when your physiology aligns with your intention, your psychology follows. Motion creates emotion. Visualize yourself walking into every room already aligned with your success, not hoping, not begging, but embodying the outcome. Feel it in your breath, in your spine, in your pace. You are not faking it, you are training it. Because the more you embody the identity of the person you are becoming, the faster the external world starts to mirror that internal shift. The world does not just respond to what you want, it responds to who you are, and who you are is shaped by what you repeatedly do. So start now, not when it feels safe, not when others approve. Now, speak as if the future depends on your words. Act as if your destiny is being recorded, because it is. Build the self-belief brick by brick, action by action, breath by breath, until it becomes unshakable, until it becomes who you are. Visualization is not daydreaming. It is not fantasy. It is a tool of the mind used by the highest achievers to bend reality. Understand this: your brain cannot distinguish between what is vividly imagined and what is physically experienced. From a neurological standpoint, when you rehearse success in your mind with detail, emotion, and repetition, you are not pretending. You are programming. Your subconscious mind, the part of you that drives 95% of your behavior, is shaped not by logic, but by repetition and emotion. It responds to vivid imagery, to the stories you consistently tell yourself about who you are and what is possible for you. Visualization is how you install new stories. It is how you override old programming and replace it with identity-level belief. This is not wishful thinking. This is mental conditioning. This is self-directed neuroplasticity. You are sculpting your brain, neuron by neuron, thought by thought, into alignment with the person you are becoming. This is why world-class athletes visualize every move before they compete. This is why top performers in business, music, leadership, and art walk through their success mentally before they experience it physically. They're not hoping, they're rehearsing. And in that mental rehearsal, they build certainty. They train their nervous system to normalize the exceptional, to make the extraordinary feel familiar. And the more familiar it becomes, the more natural it feels to take actions that support it. Because here's the truth: your mind will not allow you to consistently act in a way that contradicts your self-image. So if you want to change your results, you must first change what your mind believes is normal for you. Visualization is how you expand that internal blueprint. Do not just see yourself having success. See yourself earning it. See yourself waking up with discipline, training your mind, practicing your craft. See yourself facing resistance and pushing through. Make it real. Make it detailed. Where are you? Who are you with? What are you wearing? What's the weather like? What do your surroundings smell like? Hear the sounds of your environment. Feel the texture of that moment. Engage all your senses, then go deeper. What does it feel like to walk in complete alignment with your highest self? What does it feel like to trust yourself fully, to know that your word is law, that your habits are locked in, that your vision is non-negotiable? Let those feelings flood your system until your body believes it is happening now, because that is the key. If you can feel it in your body, your mind begins to accept it as truth. And once the subconscious accepts it, you begin moving toward it without resistance. This is how you collapse the timeline between who you are and who you are becoming. Not by hoping, not by waiting, but by installing the identity of your future self into your nervous system right now. And here's the secret the masses miss. Visualization is not just about the destination. It is about the process. Visualize the version of you who shows up daily, regardless of mood. the version who trains when nobody's watching, the version who speaks with conviction, who walks into rooms knowing they belong. See that person. Become familiar with them. Because you are them, you just haven't practiced being them enough yet. So make visualization a ritual, daily. Preferably in the morning, before the world has a chance to tell you who you are. Use breath to center yourself. Close your eyes and see your mission. Not someday, now. And do not visualize passively. Do it with intent, with emotion, with total immersion. This is not imagination for entertainment. This is imagination for transformation. The greatest achievers do not leave their future to chance. They pre-live it, again and again, until it feels inevitable. They do not visualize because they're delusional. They visualize because they are deliberate. You want to attract success? You must become someone who expects it, not through arrogance, but through preparation, through embodiment, through relentless mental rehearsal. Because what your mind rehearses, your body begins to accept. And what your body accepts, your behavior reinforces. And what your behavior reinforces, the world reflects. You are not waiting for success. You are conditioning yourself to meet it. You are not begging for abundance. You are aligning your nervous system to match it. This is not magic. This is mastery. And you now hold the tool in your hands. Use it. The idea that you are in competition with anyone else is one of the greatest lies ever sold to the human mind. It is a distraction, a trap, a mental virus designed to keep you stuck in comparison instead of rising in creation. Most people hesitate to speak boldly, to create confidently, to show up with full power, not because they lack ability, but because they believe someone else is already doing it better. Someone else already has more followers. Someone else already said it more eloquently. Someone else already occupies that space. But that mindset is built on the illusion of scarcity. It assumes that opportunity is limited, that success is a fixed resource, that value is already taken, and none of that is true. The truth is, there is no competition when you fully embody who you are. No one else on this planet has your exact combination of experiences, battles, breakdowns, breakthroughs, thoughts, tone, instincts, flaws, and fire. No one else has lived your life, endured your pain, learned your lessons, and translated them into your voice, your presence, your message. That uniqueness is not a limitation. It is the very source of your power. And the moment you stop diluting it to match someone else's formula, you begin to rise in a category of one. Because the most dangerous thing you can ever do is try to win at someone else's game. You will always feel like an imposter trying to replicate someone else's version of success. But the second you reclaim your originality, the second you stop chasing trends and start trusting your own resonance, the second you decide that your path is not a copy but a creation, you remove yourself from competition entirely. Because you are no longer trying to outperform others. You are becoming something that has never existed before. And in that space, you are untouchable. So stop scrolling through other people's highlight reels and using them as weapons against your own self-worth. Stop measuring your significance by metrics that were never meant to define you. Stop looking for proof that you belong and start becoming the proof. Success does not require that you become better than them. It requires that you become more of you, that you refine your gift, sharpen your voice, elevate your standard, not because you have to prove something, but because you are finally done pretending to be anything less than what you are truly capable of becoming. This is not about ego. This is about alignment. This is about recognizing that your power lives in the parts of you that cannot be replicated. Your difference is your advantage. Your originality is your leverage. And when you embrace that fully, when you step into your lane and own it with conviction, the game changes. Because while the world chases the noise, you become the signal. While others compete to be seen, you become the one who cannot be ignored. Not because you screamed the loudest, but because you spoke the most truth. Not because you followed the formula, but because you embodied the fire. You are not here to blend in. You are here to break the mold. You are not here to compare. You are here to create. You are not in competition. You are in evolution. And every time you choose to trust your own voice over the echo of the crowd, you rise. So act like the best. Move like the best. Speak like the best. Not out of arrogance, not out of performance, but because you know that excellence is your standard and authenticity is your power. You are not becoming someone else. You are becoming undeniable, and nobody can compete with that. You do not rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems. Who you are is not defined by what you say you want. It is revealed by what you do without having to think about it. Identity is not crafted through inspiration. It is forged through repetition. You can speak affirmations all day long, but if your habits remain rooted in distraction, procrastination, avoidance, and excuse, your nervous system will never fully trust you. Your mind will always default to doubt because you have trained it to expect inconsistency. And this is the real reason most people never build true confidence. They keep making promises they do not keep. They break commitments with themselves and then wonder why their self-esteem never rises. But self-belief is not an accident. It is not inherited. It is earned. It is a byproduct of keeping your word with yourself so consistently that your brain begins to associate your identity with reliability, strength, clarity, and power. Every single day, whether you realize it or not, you are training your subconscious. You are conditioning your nervous system. You are casting votes for the kind of person you are becoming. Every time you wake up when you said you would, every time you move your body when you do not feel like it, every time you choose the hard right over the easy wrong, you are casting a vote for the future you. You are reinforcing the identity of the leader, the finisher, the visionary. But every time you hit snooze, every time you scroll instead of study, every time you avoid what matters most, you are casting a vote for the old version of you, the one that hides, the one that waits, the one that knows what to do but delays the doing. And over time, those votes stack. They accumulate. They form patterns. And those patterns become who you are. This is why habits matter more than motivation. Motivation is a mood. Habits are your anchor. And the strongest identity is not the one that relies on hype or temporary inspiration, but the one built on small, consistent, non-negotiable standards executed daily. This is where real transformation happens. Not in massive gestures once a month, but in small acts of discipline, done when no one is watching, repeated until they become automatic. Wake up earlier not because it looks impressive, but because you are proving to yourself that your future matters. Plan your day because your life is not a rehearsal, and time is not coming back. Move your body because physical discipline sharpens mental focus. Feed your mind with truth, with knowledge, with vision, because what you consume becomes what you believe. Speak power over your life, because your words are instructions to your subconscious. Stop complaining, because every complaint is an affirmation of powerlessness. Start constructing because builders become leaders, and leaders shape reality. This is the truth that most ignore. Greatness is not the result of a lucky break or a moment of inspiration. It is the inevitable outcome of consistent alignment between your habits and your highest self. So ask yourself right now, who are you voting for with your actions? Who are you feeding with your routines? Who are you preparing to become through your choices? The world does not respond to what you say you want. It responds to the energy you carry, the discipline you live by, and the identity you prove through your patterns. Stop living like your dreams are negotiable. Start acting like your destiny is waiting for you to take it seriously. Because nobody becomes great by accident. They become great because they choose to, again and again, until it becomes who they are. The average mindset is trained to wait. Wait for permission. Wait for the right time. Wait until the stars align and every doubt magically disappears. But the truth is, the perfect moment never arrives. Confidence does not descend from the heavens. Clarity does not show up uninvited. They are earned. They are cultivated. And they are summoned through action, not hesitation. The world has conditioned you to believe that you must prove yourself before you can behave like a winner. But that belief traps you in the loop of waiting. The elite, the performers, the visionaries, the builders, they live by a different code. They act before the evidence appears. They move before the outcome is guaranteed. They speak like leaders before anyone listens. Because they understand this simple truth: your behavior precedes your reality. You do not wait to feel like the next version of yourself. You act like that version now. You embody it now. Not because you are pretending, but because you are aligning. There is a massive difference between faking it and forming it. Faking it is rooted in insecurity. Forming it is rooted in intention. When you begin to move like someone who expects success, success begins to move toward you. You are not lying to yourself. You are leading yourself. Speak the language of conviction. Carry the posture of purpose. Make decisions that reflect the life you are committed to, not the one you are trying to escape. The subconscious does not respond to your dreams. It responds to repetition and consistency. So when you act like someone who belongs in the room, who deserves the opportunity, who handles success with clarity and integrity, your brain begins to rewire to support that identity. And the external world begins to reflect that new calibration. You do not build confidence by waiting for applause. You build it by showing up powerfully in silence, by executing when no one is watching, by putting in the reps when there is no validation, no fanfare, no spotlight. That's when the transformation begins. When the room is quiet, the outcome uncertain, and you still choose to show up like the version of you that has already arrived. This is not delusion. This is discipline. You are not performing for attention. You are preparing for inevitability. Because when you finally step into that moment, it will not feel foreign. It will feel familiar, not because you hoped for it, but because you rehearsed for it. Reality is slow to catch up, but it always does. And when it does, the people who acted early, who embodied excellence before it was convenient, are the ones who rise. They do not rise by accident. They rise because they stopped waiting for the world to crown them and decided to crown themselves. You do not need to feel ready to be ready. You do not need to feel confident to act with confidence. You simply need to move in alignment with the identity you are building. Because identity is not given, it is chosen. And every time you choose to act in alignment with the future you, that identity becomes stronger. That future becomes closer. And success shifts from something you are chasing to something you are attracting. The applause, the results, the recognition, they will come. But your job is not to wait for them. Your job is to become undeniable long before the world catches on. Because by the time they see it, you will have already become it. Confidence is not a mystery. It is not a trait you are born with or without. It is a deliberate formula that anyone can follow, refine, and master. Confidence is not something that magically appears in your life. It is something you build piece by piece through intentional clarity and purposeful action. The formula is simple, but powerful. Clarity plus action equals confidence. First, you must get clear. Clarity is the foundation of all transformation. Without it, you are guessing your way through life. Who exactly do you want to become? Be specific, not vague, not general, but detailed. What does the highest version of you look like when they wake up in the morning? What do they say to themselves when they look in the mirror? What kind of thoughts occupy their mind during the day? How do they speak to others? What values guide their decisions? What do they believe about themselves, about others, about life? Most people never define this. they drift, hoping confidence will find them. But clarity is what allows you to take control. So write it down, not once, but daily. Visualize that version of you. See it so clearly that it starts to feel familiar, because the more familiar it becomes, the more natural it becomes to step into it. Second, take action. Knowledge without action is useless. You have to act as if. Embody that version of you right now, even if you don't feel ready. Speak with their tone, even if your voice shakes. Walk with their posture, even if your knees tremble. Dress how they would dress. Think how they would think. Prioritize the things that version of you would prioritize. The truth is, your brain doesn't know the difference between reality and a vividly imagined identity. So if you repeatedly act as the person you intend to become, eventually your subconscious accepts it as fact. This is not about faking it. This is about aligning your actions with the identity you are creating. And with every aligned action, confidence compounds. And third, remain consistent. This is where most people fail. They try for a day or a week and then fall off because they are chasing motivation. But motivation is emotional, and emotions fluctuate. You do not rise to the level of your motivation. You fall to the level of your systems. Build systems that reinforce your new identity. Create rituals that ground you daily. Habits that are not driven by how you feel, but by who you are becoming. Consistency is not about perfection. It's about returning to the path over and over again, until the path becomes who you are. Confidence is not a feeling. It is the natural outcome of alignment between who you say you are and how you consistently choose to act. When your internal world and your external behavior are in harmony, you no longer need to chase confidence. You become it. You cannot take the old you into the new life. That is the first and most brutal truth of transformation. The version of you that was built by fear, by insecurity, by the opinions of others, by years of conditioning and self-doubt, cannot survive in the environment of your highest potential. That version of you is not qualified to lead your future. It is not capable of building the life you say you want. It is too attached to comfort, too invested in approval, too familiar with playing small. That version must die, not gently, not gradually, but completely. You have to be willing to let it go like you would let go of a snake shedding its skin. It is a shedding of an identity that may have protected you once, but now only limits you. And yes, that death will feel like grief, because you are letting go of something that has lived inside you for years. You are saying goodbye to old habits, old beliefs, old patterns that once felt like home. It will feel like fear, because stepping into the unknown always does. It will feel like chaos, because your nervous system is being rewired. Your brain is being challenged. Your story is being rewritten. But that inner disruption is not a sign to retreat. It is confirmation. It means you are standing at the edge of breakthrough. You are no longer operating from who you were. You are stepping into who you are becoming. And that shift is sacred. That breakdown is the birthplace of every transformation. Let go of the old identity, the one that made excuses for everything, the one that needed validation before taking action, the one that blamed circumstances instead of taking responsibility, the one that feared judgment and hid its potential in exchange for temporary safety. That identity was never the real you. It was a mask, a coping mechanism, a survival strategy designed to help you fit into the world you were born into. But now, you are building a new world. And in this new world, you don't need masks. You need power. You don't need to shrink. You need to expand. You don't need to survive. You need to lead. So bury the old narrative. Hold a funeral if you have to. Mourn the version of you that thought small, played small, lived small. Then rise. Because your new life operates on a new frequency. It demands a new way of thinking, a new standard of behavior, a new code of identity. You cannot carry the weight of the old self and expect to fly. Your wings are built through release, through faith, through action that aligns with who you choose to become, not who you've been. So stop negotiating with the past. Stop revisiting what you've already outgrown. Stop keeping the door open to versions of yourself that no longer serve you. You do not need to fix the old self. You need to replace it. Replace hesitation with conviction. Replace insecurity with intention. Replace self-doubt with self-command. And once you do, once you fully step into the new self, never look back. Not even for a second. Because every time you look back, you re-anchor to a frequency you have already outgrown. Keep your eyes forward. Keep your identity aligned. And walk into your future with the unshakable knowing that the old you had to die, so the real you could finally live. Once you begin acting like the best version of yourself, once you decide to show up not from who you've been, but from who you're becoming, something powerful begins to unfold. Reality starts to bend in your direction. Results that once felt distant begin to manifest. People begin to respond to you with a different level of energy and respect. You move through the world with a different presence. There's a new cadence to your step, a different frequency in your voice, a sharper clarity in your decisions. And that internal and external shift triggers a force that is often misunderstood, but always available. That force is momentum. Momentum is not luck. It is not magic. It is not a mysterious energy reserved for the elite or the gifted. Momentum is a loop, a self-reinforcing cycle that you initiate through identity and lock in through behavior. Here's how it works. Your identity shapes your actions. The way you see yourself determines what you do, how you do it, and how consistently you do it. Those actions, repeated with discipline and intention, create results. And those results become evidence. Evidence that confirms the identity you chose. And that evidence strengthens your belief. It reinforces your self-image, which in turn leads to even more powerful action. And the loop spins again, but now with more speed, more energy, more certainty. This is the momentum loop. It is not external. It starts within. It starts when you no longer wait to feel ready. It begins the moment you stop waiting for permission and instead declare who you are. It starts when you say, "This is who I am now," and then align your behavior accordingly, not just once, but over and over again. Most people never access this loop because they try to act differently without changing how they see themselves. They try to take action from a weak identity. But when identity and action are congruent, that's when the loop engages. That's when transformation stops being temporary and becomes permanent. And here's the beauty of momentum. Once the loop starts spinning, it creates its own gravity. It becomes harder to stop than it is to sustain. The discipline that once felt like a struggle now feels like a habit. The confidence that once felt forced now feels natural. The vision that once felt like fantasy now feels inevitable. You are no longer pushing. You are being pulled by the force of who you've become. The effort is still there, but it's no longer filled with friction. Because now your identity, your actions, and your results are aligned. You're no longer acting as if. You are acting as who you are. And that is when you become truly unstoppable. Not because life has gotten easier, but because you have become stronger. Not because obstacles disappear, but because your momentum turns them into stepping stones instead of roadblocks. The loop sustains itself through alignment, through clarity, through repetition. And the more it spins, the more it solidifies the new you. You're no longer trying to prove anything. You're no longer trying to convince yourself. You are simply being who you were always meant to be. The momentum is real. The identity is real. And the results are undeniable. There is nothing humble about hiding your light. There is nothing virtuous about making yourself smaller so others can feel comfortable. Shrinking your power doesn't serve the world. It doesn't serve your purpose. And it doesn't serve your future. Playing small is not humility. It's self-betrayal. You were not born to dim your brilliance. You were born to express it, fully, boldly, unapologetically. The world does not need more people pretending to be less than they are. The world needs leaders, visionaries, warriors of purpose, people who are willing to rise, willing to own their gifts, willing to embody the full power of who they truly are. Your potential is not a fantasy. It is a reality waiting for activation. It is sitting just beyond the edge of your comfort. It's not waiting for the perfect time. It's not waiting for more clarity. It's waiting for your decision, for your courage, for your commitment. But here's the truth most people ignore. Your potential will not wait forever. Opportunity does not stay parked at your door. Time will keep moving. Life will keep testing you. And if you do not claim your power, you will watch someone else live the life you were capable of living. So do not hesitate. Do not stall. Do not second-guess the call inside of you. Step into it. Own it. Activate it now. Act like the best. Think like the best. Train like the best. Speak like the best. Walk into every room as if the future depends on your energy, because it does. This isn't about ego. It's about alignment. It's about living in integrity with the greatness that already exists inside you. And the more you act like the best, the more you think and speak and move in full ownership of your identity, the faster the shift happens. Because soon, you will no longer be acting. You will no longer be reaching. You will be becoming. Becoming the person you used to look up to. Becoming the version of yourself you once thought was a dream. You will embody the mindset, the discipline, the clarity, the confidence, and the fire that used to feel distant. It will become your new normal. And if you're ready, truly ready, to go further, faster, and with more focus than ever before, this is your moment. Don't just watch. Don't just consume. Engage. Lock in. Build with us. Like this video to signal that commitment to yourself. Subscribe to this channel so you never miss the tools and principles that will sharpen your edge. Turn on the bell, because this is not just content. This is a movement. A community of leaders, of builders, of creators who are refusing to live small. This is just the beginning, and your next level is already waiting.